Good morning. Out on our walk again today. It's been a very stormy night and there has been a lot of rain overnight. So it's very slippery underfoot at the moment, but there's a lot of fresh air, that's for sure. One of the things I've been thinking about recently and what I want to share with you at the moment is the amount of digitization programs, change programs going on all over the world. And I think change is no longer incremental, it's now exponential. And that puts lots of strains on lots of departments that never had the problem of change. And I'm thinking mostly about HR. In most of the programs I've done throughout my career, HR is always the last one to get involved, particularly if there's technology involved and business process, because they think those are operational things. I'm afraid those days are long gone, because the digitization is not just about the technology. It's about the business process. It's about the way that the organization competes. We have different competencies, and it's more about organizational development, which is the traditional field of HR. And I'm glad to see HR are starting to step into the role that they should have been doing for many years. And I wondered why they didn't step into it in years gone past. And I think that's because there are different schools of HR. And I think they saw that change inside a business is very much siloed, and it's down to the technocrats in whichever area the change is happening. They never saw it as something fundamental to the business, other than maybe some management training for careers and things like that. But HR have to start thinking about what their role is in the modern world. Now, some are stepping up, but nowhere near enough. And I think there's a rude awakening for a lot of HR departments, because this change, as I've said earlier on, is exponential. And businesses are not just changing their processes and technology, they're changing their whole business model, how they want to compete, what their capabilities are going to be like, how they're going to have a distributed workforce. Everything is up for grabs, and there needs to be a HR renaissance to take a lead instead of being pulled behind the change. There's a big danger in the technologists driving the change. They want to get the technology in, tested, some user testing, some user training, and walk away. Well, that's only part of the job. Technology today and new types of working, new methods of working, new approaches, new capabilities, that requires a wholesale thinking of what constitutes an organization and how do we work together going forward. In other words, everybody has to be highly adaptable and learning adaptability skills to be able to morph from one position into another and to understand how everything is connected, and then still manage to get work done when the boundaries between the work are no longer obvious. And that calls for a very different mindset. It calls for different skill set with the staff, with the management, even looking at how we measure people, how we develop people. If we're moving towards a level of adaptability like we've never seen before, which is what the world of work is calling us into, those companies that really think about developing adaptability skills and changing the relationships between staff, managers and leaders so that they co-create together like never before. And co-creation means that a lot of the mistakes that you make are now public. A lot of the ideas that you're trying out won't work, but you only need the few that do work, but you have to go through a lot of prototyping to do that. And that calls for a very different type of relationship between managers and staff. You can't command and control creativity or adaptiveness. It's It's a joint effort from everybody. And the technology is almost incidental to that. Technology without people doesn't create anything. Certainly not jobs of value or change in societies. But I think schools, universities really need to start preparing people for jobs that are going to be continually changing and adapting, and that's putting a strain on all the old systems that we've got. And HR need to be leading that change from the front, because it's about people. Three things: people, people, people. So I hope you got that. The wind has died down. I hope it wasn't too noisy on the recording. But I'm looking around. It's very pleasant. A few deer popped out just now. That was very interesting. So have a nice rest of the day, and just reflect on some of these big changes that are coming through and the implications for people, their skills and their careers. All the best for now.